In this video, we're going to run through the VAT statement part of Business Central or Dynamics NAV to show how you can reconcile the figures back to your general ledger and the detailed reports to make sure what you're submitting to HMRC is correct. We know how wonderfully flexible the VAT setup is within Business Central. However, that does mean there's some pitfalls for the uninitiated user that could fall into. So this will help you get around that and check the figures to make sure things are looking full and complete. So we're going to go through three main elements in this, which is the VAT statement, which is the summary report that you send to HMRC either via MTD or manually. And then we're going to go for the GL accounts and see what they're saying. So you can check that back to the VAT statement to make sure nothing's been missed. And then the calc and post VAT settlement routine, which is where you actually mark entries as being effectively submitted to HMRC. So to start with, let's open up the VAT statement report. So I'll search for it here. And open up the one here for GB. And here we see the typical VAT statement with the summary at the top and then the breakdown of that below. If I scroll down to the bottom of this, I've put in a GL reconciliation section in here, which rather than adding up the VAT entries in the system, will add up what the GL account totals are for the specific accounts for sales VAT and purchase VAT, and give a total for those, and show any difference if there is any as well. So that gives a little quick check on the same page to see if everything's looking complete and accurate. So I'll start off by going through and running the overview. And on here in the preview, we can see we're looking at the VAT return. I've put in the quarter we're looking at. Looking for the first quarter. Now to expand that page. And we can see the VAT column amounts there. And if we scroll, we can see we should be expecting in about a reclaim of £1,500 here. If I scroll down to the reconciliation section, we can see that there's a difference here actually, because we've got the GL saying a different figure to the VAT return at the top. Now, 9 out of 10 times that will be because we've posted something into the previous quarter, and while the VAT return or VAT statement report is clever enough to look at the before and within period filter, all other reports, which is on the GL and the calc and post, look within the date filters you specified here. So there's a chance something was posted into December that wasn't picked up in the last return and is now being included in this VAT statement, but isn't being shown up in the GL for that same period. So what I'll do is run the VAT entries here, and that will allow us to look at all the VAT entries in the system. And I'll add a couple of filters here to just tie down the information to what we want to look at. And that is to limit things to, first of all, the date range. So the posting date would be before this VAT statement. So I'll say up to 31st December 19. And then look for all the entries that are actually not closed. So closed, and I'll look for closed being no, so effectively open entries. And I can see there's 3 entries in there that are not open, i.e. they were not included in the previous VAT return, and they are before this quarter's date. So we can see there's an £8,000 purchase invoice. These two cancel each other out, and that is for 1,600. So going back to our VAT return, we can see the difference is 1600. So we can see the difference there is because of that. So we're pretty safe. So when I do the VAT return now, I know that the difference here showing on the VAT statement is actually justifiable as being a last quarter entry. The other thing we would recommend people do is compare this report to the calc and post VAT settlement. So what we'll do here is I'll process this and run it as a print report, and we'll just save that to PDF. So I'm going to run this as a VAT statement, show more, that's performed within the period, and we're going to send that to PDF. There, let's just open that up. I'll then go back to here and say let's process this as a calc and post. Now, one thing very important is to make sure post is not ticked at this moment. We only want to tick post when we are absolutely sure this is the correct return, as that will mark all the entries included as closed on the system. So this is the very last thing you do is run this as posted. So when I'm running it now, I'm going to make sure the post is off and the starting date is a little bit earlier to capture those stray entries that we had in there that went into the last quarter. If I preview this, and then expand that up a few pages and go to the end, we can see the total here is 1579.40. If I compare that to the VAT statement, expand that, 159.40, we can see that matches up. So we know that the actual details of the VAT statement are correct and complete because this calc and post VAT settlement report is and shows everything that goes into the VAT entries. So if this is the actual correct version of the report and the VAT summary is a representation of that in terms of summarizing all the information into something more readable and easy to submit to HMRC. So now we know this is all checked up and reconciled, we actually can say this is correct. And while there's a few steps to make sure everything is correct and matching up, it is important to do every VAT return just in case anything's changed in the setup, or like we said here, there's a prior posting in there. In fact, it's one of the reasons why in our HMRC MTD for VAT add-on, we've actually made sure that you can't submit this to HMRC without these figures agreeing before you do that. But without that add-on, this is a few checks you can do every quarter to make sure your VAT return's complete. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us.